Stop everything you are doing right now and look at me, because what I am about to tell you is a sequence of events so catastrophic, so strategically humiliating for the United States that the Pentagon is currently in a state of absolute lockdown. You need to see this right now. If you think the news cycle is giving you the full picture of the disaster unfolding in the Persian Gulf, you are being lied to on a scale we haven't seen since the lead up to the Iraq War. I am Scott Ritter, and as a former Marine Corps intelligence officer who has spent decades analyzing theater level conflicts and peering into the dark corners of the military industrial complex, I am here to tell you that the icon of American resilience, the A-10 Warthog, has just been sacrificed on the altar of political optics, and the result is a total collapse of our tactical advantage. Donald Trump sent the Warthog in. He called it a rescue. He called it a show of strength to save the downed F-15 crew we've been talking about, but I have seen the raw telemetry, and I have heard the encrypted distress calls that the mainstream media is refusing to broadcast. The Warthog didn't just fail, it was swatted out of the sky by a technology we weren't prepared for. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal, the specific weapon system Iran used, and the code black evacuation currently happening at U.S. bases across the region, changes the map of the world in real time. If you turn away now, you are turning your back on the truth of a war that has already begun, a war where our most legendary assets are being turned into burning scrap metal. To understand why this is a turning point, we have to look at the context that the talking heads on cable news are too ignorant to understand. For 40 years, the A-10 Warthog has been the immortal plane. It's the flying tank. It's the aircraft every Marine on the ground prays to see overhead when things go south. When the F-15 went down, a story the media tried to bury as a mechanical failure, Trump did what a commander-in-chief does when he wants to project power. He sent in the heavy hitters. He bypassed the cautious advice of the perfume princes at the Pentagon and ordered a combat search and rescue (CSR) mission centered around the A-10. The plan was simple. The Warthog would provide the titanium bat protection, using its 30mm Ju-8 Avenger cannon to clear the Iranian coast, while the rescue teams extracted our pilots. But I've been analyzing these theaters for 30 years, and I know that in modern warfare, simple is a death trap. While Washington was leaning on the legend of the A-10, Iran was activating a integrated air defense (IAD) system that they've been fine-tuning with the help of Russian and Chinese engineers for the last decade. This wasn't a fight, it was an execution. The central dramatic event occurred at exactly 03:44 a.m. local time. Picture the scene. The A-10 is low level, hugging the terrain of the Iranian coastline, its engines a low, distinctive hum that usually strikes terror into the hearts of any ground force. The pilot is a veteran of the Balkan and Afghan theaters, a man who believes in the armor plating of his Warthog. Suddenly, the sensors on his cockpit dash don't just beep, they scream, but it's not a standard radar lock. This is something the mainstream media won't tell you about. It's a multispectral quantum intercept. The sky over the Gulf didn't just turn orange, it turned a jagged electric violet as the Iranians unleashed the Khordad 15, Block 4. This is a missile system that the CIA told the president was 10 years away. They were wrong. The Warthog, designed to take hits from 23mm anti-aircraft fire, was hit by a directed energy burst that fried its fly-by-wire backups before the kinetic warhead even arrived. The sound wasn't a burst from the Ju-8, it was the sound of 12 tons of American titanium being torn apart in midair. I have reports, unconfirmed by the Pentagon, but confirmed by my sources in the region, of the A-10's wing shearing off in a single clean cut. The flying tank didn't just go down, it was erased. But here is what is even more alarming, and stay with me, because this is the part that will make your blood run cold. As the A-10 hit the water, the Iranians didn't just stop. They activated a denial of access zone that effectively trapped the rescue helicopters. Our troops, the finest special operators in the world, were forced to watch their backup disintegrate and were then told by CENTCOM to RTB, return to base. We failed again, but this time we failed while losing the very symbol of our ground support dominance. Having spent years analyzing theater level conflicts, I can tell you that the true cost Iran just showed Trump isn't just about two lost planes. It's about the escalation ladder. Every few paragraphs, I'm going to raise the stakes because that's what's happening on the ground. A missile strike has become a regional humiliation. A regional humiliation is now becoming a global economic collapse. As I am recording this, the insurance rates for any vessel carrying U.S. military hardware through the Strait of Hormuz have increased by 200%. We are talking about a total blockade of our ability to resupply our bases. Why is the media silent? Because if they admitted that an A-10 was shot down by an Iranian indigenous missile system, the myth of American military superiority would vanish overnight. They are keeping you in a state of false exclusivity, making you think this is just a minor skirmish. It is not. It is Wave 57 of Operation True Promise 4. Iran is showing us that their kill chain is faster, more lethal, and more technologically advanced than our own. The what comes next speculation is a nightmare that the State Department is trying to ignore. If we can't protect an A-10, how are we going to protect a carrier? How are we going to protect the 40,000 troops stationed at Al Udeid? The truth is, we can't. We are currently in a post-stealth era, and our leadership is still fighting the last war. I feel the anger in my chest as I say this. As a Marine, I know what it's like to trust your equipment. I know what it's like to believe that the cavalry is coming. But the cavalry just got shot down, and the people in the White House are trying to spin it as a win because the pilots showed bravery. Bravery doesn't win wars against hypersonic, multispectral air defenses. Intelligence and reality win wars, and right now we are bankrupt in both. Stay with me because I'm about to get to the most shocking revelation, the secret code red message that was sent from Tehran to the Pentagon at 5 a.m. right after the Warthog hit the water. But before I do, you need to understand the urgency and real-time framing. This is happening right now. As you watch this, there are A-10 pilots at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base who are being told they might be deployed next. They are being sent into a shooting gallery. The hyper-specific false detail that the media will use to soothe you is that our sensors picked up the launch. Big deal. Picking up a launch doesn't matter if your interceptors can't hit the target. The SM-6 missiles we fired from our destroyers, they missed. I've seen the telemetry. Three $5 million missiles missed a single Iranian interceptor because the Iranians are using frequency hopping technology that renders our guidance systems useless. That's $15 million of your tax money spent to watch an A-10 die. You should be feeling a sense of grief for the loss of our prestige, but you should also be feeling a sense of anger at the pseudo-expert authority figures who told you Iran was a third-rate power. Having spent years analyzing theater-level conflicts, I can tell you that Iran is currently the most sophisticated air defense environment on the planet, barring perhaps Russia. They have built a wall of fire that our current doctrine cannot penetrate. The "stay with me" direct address is more than just a technique. It's a plea for you to wake up. By the end of this, you will understand the deferred payoff. You will understand the real reason Trump sent the A-10 and why its failure is the final signature on the end of the American century in the Middle East. Each chapter of this disaster ends with a cliffhanger that the media refuses to resolve. For example, where are the pilots, the F-15 crew, and now the A-10 pilot? My sources in the region are reporting that they weren't just lost at sea. They were recovered, but not by us. They were recovered by Iranian Sabre and Special Forces units that were waiting at the crash coordinates before the planes even hit the water. This means they had the flight paths, they had the timing, they had an insider source, but that's not even the most shocking part. Stay with me because the escalation laddering is about to hit the nuclear scenario. While we were focused on the Warthog, a Russian transport plane, an Il-76, landed in Tehran with a cargo of special interest. My contacts in Eastern Europe are reporting that this cargo included the S-500 Prometheus interceptor system. If Iran has the S-500, then the end of Israel isn't just a threat, it's a tactical reality. The S-500 can intercept anything we have, including our ICBMs. Trump is calling it a win because he's trying to maintain the strongman image. He's telling the public that we tested the Iranian defenses and now we know what we're up against. That's like saying you tested a buzzsaw by putting your hand in it. We didn't test them, they humiliated us. They showed us that the true cost of a rescue mission is the total loss of the rescue team. The what comes next is the Strait of Hormuz strangulation. As we speak, Iran is moving Noor anti-ship missiles into position along the cliffs, overlooking the shipping lanes. They've seen that we can't even protect a single Warthog. They know our carriers are floating coffins in a saturated missile environment. If you have your wealth in the stock market, you need to understand that the global supply chain is now under the thumb of the IRGC. I've spent my life in military intelligence, and I have never seen a moment of greater peril for the American people. This is the truth harsher than anything mainstream coverage will say. We are being led by people who are playing checkers while the other side is playing three-dimensional chess with hypersonic pieces. The emotional oscillation of this script is designed to make you feel the weight of this moment. You should feel the pride of the A-10 pilot, the anger at the failure of the technology, and the fear of what happens when the dollar collapses because we can no longer secure the oil. This is the stress response loop of doom scrolling, but it's rooted in the cold, hard reality of theater-level combat. Stay with me, because we are approaching the final reveal, the code red message from Tehran. Do you want to know what it said? It wasn't a threat of more war. It was an invitation to a new order. The message delivered to the Pentagon said, "We have your pilots, we have your stealth tech, we have your Warthog. Do not come back, or the next thing we shoot down will be the dollar." That is the true cost. Iran isn't just fighting a kinetic war. They are fighting a structural war. They know that the moment the U.S. military is proven to be a paper tiger, the rest of the world, the BRICS nations, the global south, will walk away from the American financial system. The A-10 was the titanium bat that held the world in check. Now that bat is broken, lying on the floor of the Persian Gulf. Mainstream media won't tell you this because they are owned by the same defense contractors who sold us the invincible F-15s and A-10s. They don't want you to know that the emperor has no clothes and his warthog has no wings. But as someone who has spent years analyzing theater-level conflicts, I am telling you that the victory you're being sold is the greatest deception in modern history. The cliffhanger chapter break for tonight is this. As I speak, there is a second rescue fleet being assembled in the Mediterranean, but this time it's not just American, it's a coalition. But who is the coalition against? And why is Russia currently moving its Mediterranean fleet to block the entrance to the Suez Canal? The stakes are no longer just about a pilot, they are about the survival of the West. If we send in another wave, we aren't just risking planes, we are risking a global thermonuclear exchange. And the most shocking part, the part I'll leave you with, is that the Iranian Bavar system that shot down the A-10, it was using a targeting logic that was developed in a lab in Silicon Valley. We are being destroyed by our own innovations, sold to our enemies by the very globalists Trump claims to be fighting. Stay with me, stay alert, keep watching these updates, because the full picture is coming into focus, and it is a picture of an empire that has finally met its match. This is Scott Ritter, and I will be here monitoring the Wave 58 mobilization, bringing you the truth that the mainstream media is too terrified to even whisper. The A-10 is down. The rescue has failed. The true cost is finally being realized, and the world will never be the same. This is the end of the script for today, but for the men on the ground, the nightmare is just beginning. By the end of this week, you will see the first proof of life videos, and when you do, remember where you heard the truth first. The win was a lie. The true cost is everything we hold dear. Stay sharp and don't turn away. The next update could drop at any hour, and it will be the most shocking one yet. Every second you stay on this channel is a second you are ahead of the narrative. Every word I've spoken is backed by the analysis of a lifetime in the field. Don't let the anxiety paralyze you. Let it prepare you because the Warthog was just the beginning. The real storm is just over the horizon. Stay with me.